Hello, everyone. Today we're going to start a new series. Let's talk about distance learning. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to tackle a couple of just some of the items that will help you organize, engage. We're going to show off some of our success stories and things like that as we start to get more into our virtual academy, more into our virtual learning, and trying to just sort of give you some practical ideas and thoughts to help you out as you venture into the distance learning world. So today we're going to really kind of talk about organization. So there is a lot of links in this presentation, and I will make all of that available to you and send out an email to everyone with the links for this. Don't hesitate to reach out. Don't forget, we're going to also have some teacher talk time next week. So it's like office hours. So you can ask questions. And also, we're going to do another Let's Talk About Distance Learning next Thursday, 6:30 to 7:30. So let's kind of get started going through some of these organizational tips that I've put together for you as you continue to work with your students in the virtual academy and for distance learning. So, one good thing and one thing that we definitely need to talk about is the idea of getting yourself organized. I think one thing about distance learning is that it's extremely important that you organize your work. And so, if I'm hoping that some of the tips in this webinar is going to give you some time saving tips as well as ways in which to really help your students and help yourself. I know that so many of you are spending hours and hours to try to give great learning opportunities for our students, not only face to face, but especially as we embark on this new thing with virtual academy. I think one thing that's very important is that planning and organization is a tool for face to face, but it is also extremely important for distance learning. So, a few things that we're going to be exploring in the next couple of slides and over the next 30 minutes or so is how can you organize your learning experiences? How can you organize your files? How do you organize your internet tabs and links? How do you track your time? And how can you provide your students with tools to organize their own learning? So, one thing you need to keep in mind as we go through this is there are many, many, many options here for you to use. You need to find what works best for you and actually stick with that format. Don't go back and forth from week to week to week to week with something different, because it also helps your kids to organize themselves. Not only you organizing yourself, but organizing your kids organizing their work as well. So let's kind of go through some of these items. And again, you can always send any questions to our teacher help desk, and I will post that information in the email when I send out the link for this video. And also, don't hesitate to reach out to me or Stephanie about actually just talking to you face to face or on a virtual call or something with questions, since we were unable to do this first webinar live. Let's make sure we still keep that communication open, because we're definitely here for you. So let's talk about organizing your learning experience. So a couple of things throughout this presentation, you're going to see just some general tips we'll go over, but then I'm going to have specific things for you also that you can actually download and use yourself. So one thing to keep in mind is your first step really needs to be to organize your entire week. You need to have the lessons laid out for the students, whether it's on a simple slide or if it's on some of the templates that I'm going to show you here in a few minutes. But make sure that your directions are clear and laid out, and that you don't assume anything. One thing about the difference between distance learning and face-to-face is in distance learning, you have your students at home with their parents trying to figure out some of these problems as they go on and as they're doing their work. And so you may not be available, and it's not expected that you're available at all hours of the night to answer these questions. So if you can organize your week and organize your lessons, then I think it's going to make your life a whole lot easier, as well as your students. To-do lists are going to be very important. I love making checklists personally for myself, because it's just the idea of, I love checking something off. The same thing is great for your kids. If you have everything laid out with a simple checklist, the kids can check off when they have completed each one of the assignments. And so they're not missing out, or they're not missing an assignment. And then that will help to lower not only your frustration level, but their frustration level as well. So here are a couple of planners that I think you'll like. First of all, a big shout out to slidesmania.com. You're going to see so many resources today in this webinar from Slidesmania. All of them you can make a copy with just by clicking here on the link. And once you do that, it's going to force you to make a copy. So when you open up that copy, then it's now in your drive. You can rename it, organize your files, do whatever you want on that. But what's so great about all of these templates, and I'll just go through this one. This is a daily template. So notice what they've done here is they've given you the idea of this being for activities or a choice board. And we're going to talk about choice boards a little bit more in a couple of weeks when we talk about engagement. But what this does is it hyperlinks to the actual pages where you lay everything out. It's extremely important if you start thinking about distance learning in a flip fashion. So in other words, provide those students with some type of video. Notice what we have here. All the links are there. You can also record a really quick little video or audio with your directions. And notice how it's just laid out, all the different activities. This is for one day. You could have it done by unit. You could have it done by week. I'm going to show you a couple of more examples. That's all linked here. What's very great about this is that it allows you to get really, really organized. And notice this one even goes into providing links for your students or a slide deck for each one of your students. So Slide Mania has some fantastic things that will help you get organized. And a lot of them are linked here in our presentation. So here's an example of a daily planner. One thing I hope you take away from this is plan, organize, get it ready for your kids. Here's another great example of a weekly planner. There's planners that are linked in here for daily, weekly, yearly, and then I'm going to show you some other examples. But all of them have the basic premise. One thing to keep in mind, images, videos, those are all the type of things that we use in our classrooms when we're actually teaching that will help in this situation. So this is another weekly planner template. Again, remember, everything is linked here. All you have to do is click and it'll force you to make a copy. Here are a couple of other different planners. This one at the top here, you can plan by the week. It all links into, these are all Google Slides. Also like how it provides content information section. It also gives you a spot to put all your video conferencing. This can be uploaded straight into Google Classroom or On-Course Classroom, using whichever style you'd like. For some of your older students, middle high school, you might like to use some of these here that have more of an older look to them. But notice on every one of these, which are all hyperlinked in your actual slide deck, what it provides for the students is an organized way. Okay, it's Monday morning. Let me click on Monday. This is what my assignments are on Monday. You may not be visiting with the kids every day. One thing you need to make sure that you're putting on every day is to have them check in online. Next week's topic is going to be on communication, and I'm going to go over different topics on how to make sure that your kids are doing attendance on course, and how you can check them in on different on Google Meets, that type of thing. That's next week's topic. So this one I also like, has a nice little look like a filing cabinets. That's a great one. They even have a couple of examples of yearly planners. These are really great if you look at the yearly planner ones, especially considering Virtual Academy is going to be, we know, at least through January with your first group of students. So what's good about this is it lets you personally track, and then you can always actually show this off to, or provide this to your parents and your students if you'd like. But notice what it does is it gives you an actual list of when is your test, when are our holidays, when are things due. Do you have a daily like calendar math that's due every day? Put that on there. Make sure that the concept in your mind is it might take you a little bit more time to plan these out, but in the long run, you'll be answering less questions at office hours and spending less time when you're doing your face-to-face time with the students answering these types of items. So that's another great example of one of the possibilities that's provided with these Slides Mania deck. So that's a yearly planner. You could also do a unit planner. I can see a unit planner being done for especially your middle and high school kids, especially your high school ones, because in these unit plans, it's basically content driven. Then you can, of course, add in any assignment dates or that type of stuff. You could also link these to a calendar that you make on your own Google Calendar and share that Google Calendar out with everybody. This one is just basic general folders. If you look across the top up here, say you're teaching a first grade class or a lower elementary class where you are preparing for all different all different content areas. So this one might say reading, this one math, this one science, this one social studies. So it's all laid out for you so that the students have a one-stop shop to do everything. So you need to find what works for you and use what's best for you. If you would like a little bit more advice, or us to talk with you or sit with you or something like that, really don't hesitate to reach out, because you're not doing this on your own. We're here to help you. I know it's been tough on some of us and a bit of a struggle as we've got started with Virtual Academy, but it's something we can win. We can do this. You are all great teachers. We can do this type of thing. It's just learning some of those little bitty small things to help you be less stressed and be a little bit more organized and laid out, because it is a different way of teaching. Another great one for your content is Wakelet. I'm going to certainly encourage you to do Wakelet. Wakelet is basically a way for you to curate all of your things together in one area. So say you have your videos on a topic, you have your URLs you want the kids to go to. Here's an example of one I made for all of you on Slides Mania. I had some great organizational tips and videos. So you can basically see what Wakelet will do for you. So Wakelet allows you to pick an actual like basically a header. You go through and you can link in videos. You can link in all of your everything you want them to be able to go to. So for example, if you want to embed a slideshow inside of a slideshow, that's very easy to do. Here is the link to it. So imagine you're teaching, I don't know, you're teaching something about the planets. You might send them to the 9 planets there. You might actually look, you have a video embedded here on the website. You can also embed videos here in your Wakelet. One thing to keep in mind is here's some general user guides, and here's a YouTube tutorial. Also, we have a great video that is linked on LeQ from one of our LeQ Cares events. All on Wakelet is from 2 fantastic teachers, Amanda Jones and Heather White from Livingston Parish, who did a great session on Wakelet. If you are interested in that, we just need to get you registered on the LeQ website, and I will show you where that link is. Also, check out these YouTube tutorials. This will take you straight to YouTube, and it'll show you basically how to go through Wakelet and do specific things. I will tell you this. There is really, it is very, very intuitive. So I'm not sure how much of this you will actually need, because literally it's kind of laid out for you for what to do. But reach out to us for Wakelet if that's something we're interested in. Stephanie and I can also work on doing a webinar or some type of a tutorial on Wakelet, because I think this is one that will really help you with your students. The other thing I really like, I found this one, was the breakout room slide template. So this one is done from Hello Teacher Lady blog. And if you click down here, you'll go straight to her actual full blog. This will give you a copy of her breakout room notes. So if you're using breakout rooms with your students, then you can actually have them track their notes together as they work. And when you do that, it's all laid out on this template. So here's another thing that's great for communication with students, but also this will help you organize that. So the other thing I really love are these digital notebooks. So you can work on your weekly layouts, or you might decide you want to do a digital notebook with your topic. So basically, whatever the content is, you might have a math one. You might have, look over here on the side. Here's a link for math, science, geography, English, history, all laid out on here. And remember, these are slide decks. So if you prefer this actual template, then all you have to do is then go in here wherever you're putting your title, your information or your activities, and then you can link the actual or put in the actual due dates there. So that gives you that option for that. One thing we'll try to explore a little bit more is communication with like on course Classroom next week, as well as maybe into Google Classroom, how you can organize some of these items and getting these dates on the calendar for students so that they can see them. The student planner is also a great one. That one allows, if you want to give each one of your students one, they can actually go in and do a planner. I'll go ahead and open that one up so you can see kind of the difference. So this is a way for kids to stay organized as well, not just you to stay organized. There's also the digital notebooks can be used for kids to write notes in. And then, of course, they could even turn these back in to you afterwards as maybe like their classroom assignments. But notice what you have here in your notebook, your planner, you're giving them instructions, and then you're giving them basically another way of looking at how everything is arranged by the week. Then you can actually add some notes in there. And it's really like the old planners that the kids carry around with them, but instead now they have it digitally. So I really like this idea, especially for the kids who aren't organized. This will allow you to stay organized, your kids to stay organized as well. Here's another template on if you're just dealing with topics. And then these are some other great ones. where your students can create their own notes. Also, they can create their own scrapbook. So this one right here is a scrapbook one where they can add pictures. So think out of the box on that. That scrapbook one could be on a topic that you're actually teaching the students. And then they're actually putting their notes and their images in there as well. So I would take a little time to explore these, find the ones that fit for you so that you are able to help not only you stay organized, but your students stay organized as well. Another little teaching tip there is use your video, audio, and images if possible. It doesn't have to be in fancy. Embed your video on a Google slide. So then you can upload your Google slide. Give them videos and ideas and thoughts that they can use, okay? Keep all of those objects together. And another little section that we'll look at on general tips is going to be graphic organizers. Use your graphic organizers. Just because they're sitting at home does not mean they can't do a graphic organizer. And all the graphic organizers do not have to be done electronically. Just have them upload an image. All they have to do is do it on a piece of paper, hold it in front of their camera, take that image, and send that image to you. Images are great for reinforcing your content. If you're talking about, especially anything that would be like a cycle, the scientific method, for example, provide that image. Because remember, in terms of just actual teaching, when we provide those images, students are able to sometimes, especially if they're visual learners, go back and imagine that image in their head. Choice boards are another great one, and we're going to explore this one more in a couple of weeks when we talk about engagement. But what choice board does is if you're allowing your student, if you're giving your students a variety of possibilities of items to do in order to complete their assignment, these templates will help you lay out your choice boards. So are your assignments. So here's an example of one that's like a cinema, which I think is cute. Bitmojis are really in. All you have to do is go in and replace that Bitmoji with your own Bitmoji. And notice what they're doing here. Like if you look at the next one, here's their six different types of activities that they possibly could do. One of them might be for them to do a video. One might be for them to do a graphic organizer, on and on and on. These are all hyperlinked to an actual page that tells you what they need to do. Great way to stay organized. Great way to still provide student choice online. And also a great way for you to know what every one of your students are doing. That way you don't have to be pulling your hair out of your head on that one. So we've got a couple of just examples here of choice boards. When we're talking about engagement, we will probably explore choice board a little bit more, but I wanted to give you some examples of some templates that you could start looking at and using now. Other thing is make sure that you have a spot someplace on your distance learning classroom, either it being Google Classroom or On Course Classroom, that provides all of your information. How to contact you, what's your email address, those types of things. Also, keep in mind, these are the type of things you post on your classroom that might have your Google Meet links on them. Never send those out or post those on a website because we don't want anything bombed or that type of thing. Also, just a side note tip for security, once we're talking about this, never post any of your students' username and passwords out publicly or anywhere where someone, even within the class, can see it besides that one student, so that we can make sure that we're not giving anybody the opportunity to hack into anything. Every one of these 4 are linked down here, and all you have to do is make a copy and change and fix it to match you. Hyperdocs, great thing for distance learning. Many of us have been doing hyperdocs for a very, very long time. Basically, what HyperDocs does for you is it provides an electronic note-taking guide for your students. So whether they're doing a note-taking guide on Google Docs, or they're doing a note-taking guide on a Google form, or they're doing something like that, note-taking guides are very good because you're not there walking around, obviously, helping your students as they go. So these note-taking guides will assist you and your students in making sure that they have some type of a guide to actually explore the content. Now, I'm not telling you to make a note taking guide that spoon feeds your students. You still need them doing those deep thought questions, but give them that guide so that they know what each one of those questions are. So here's a great slide with some great links. If you go here, the HyperDoc Toolbox article will link you to 14 great examples of how to use a HyperDoc. Here is the basic template for a HyperDoc. And actually, this one is going to have you make a copy as well. And when you go into here, it lays it out for you. And you as a teacher only have to go in and change the engage, explore, explain, that type of thing. You create these questions here for your students, and then they go to that and they follow this hyperlink guide to go through their activity. These hyperlink or hyperdoc guides can be connected into those planners we talked about. Again, like this plus here is an example like of Flipgrid. That's another communication and engagement piece we're going to go over next week and in the weeks to come. The other thing is here is a couple of links to some HyperDoc samples that Stephanie and Mandy had put together in the past that just gives you an idea of what to look at. Basically, if you were looking for a HyperDoc, most of them are done, and teachers provide those and share out. So you could easily do a Google search for HyperDocs based on the topic that you want to use. Here's another slide deck template with a HyperDoc, and notice at the side, it's just a different way of laying it out. Instead of on a Google Doc, it's on a Google slide, and it lays all of it out, and each student can then submit that to you if they're working from home. Also, a couple of weeks ago when we did our Google Expeditions, our virtual field trips, we talked about using HyperDocs with Google Expeditions. So here is the template for that and some links. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more of what we talked about there, we have the video recording of our distance learning summer series. And you would need to look at the one on virtual field trips for that. Or just reach out to me and I will definitely help you out with that. Graphic organizers is another great way. Remember, there's graphics just kind of help lay something out where keywords are there to help your students. A KWL chart is great for the kids. Very simple to do on Google Docs. Lay out a KWL so then you can actually monitor what they know, what they want to know, and then what they've learned. Lay out your concepts and your topics. Everything that we usually talk about and say in a classroom, or maybe write as an objective on the board, needs to be laid out for distance learning. So what is our topic? What are we trying to learn? Because what happens is if you have a 15, 20-minute or even an hour-long class, when those kids are at home by themselves trying to do the content and experience the content, they need to be able to remember exactly what you were talking about and what their goal for that day was. So lay those concepts out. Timelines are a great way to do that. They make things more realistic, give them an idea of what's going on. Just providing with a general review of concepts. But also keep in mind just your regular graphic organizers that we always use. You know, the hamburger one, the hot dog one, the rafts, all those things can still be used online. And I guarantee you that there's a template someplace online. I did a search when I was putting this together that said KWL chart Google Doc, and there was a template there. So Uni can do the same thing. The other thing that I kind of wanted to show you was I think we all like to just kind of stay organized. So Slides Mania also has provided an abundance of slides and themes. And I went through to try to save you some time and organize all of them into one folder. And you can see there is a bunch of them in here, just some different templates for you to be able to use in your classroom. The only thing that I ask is that if you use one of these, you make a copy of them so that we can keep the original here and fresh. And a huge, again, thanks to Slides Mania. I would make Slides Mania one of my go-to spots for great templates and great thought-provoking things to help you stay organized in your classroom. The thing about distance learning that we need to keep in mind is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have stuff out there. You just have to ask that question, has anyone seen this, or has anyone done this, or anything like that. So, guys, as always, all you have to do is reach out to me, reach out to Stephanie Thompson. We are here to help you. We don't want you to feel as though you are on your own. Our next topic is going to be talking about communication. So I will put together a bunch of items and bunch of thoughts and concepts for communication. We will try to do that one live. You will see more information in your email on that one. I am going to post this video, post this slide deck, and post a link to the WBR Teacher Help Desk for you. Please reach out to us. The best way to do it is on that help desk, just because both Stephanie and I are monitoring that, and Stephanie has been doing an amazing job of helping all of you out, jumping on video calls for 15 minutes or anything like that. So please make sure to reach out to us. We don't want you to think that you are in this alone. I'm going to go to the website and show you where to go to get to our help desk. So if you go to our logins, we are going to have your teacher help desk. I'm going to put it here on this page, on these links. I thought it was here already. I apologize. It's not. I'm going to put that on there. It was in an email. Oh, here it is. WBR Help Desk employees only. Sorry, it was hidden. So you would have to log in, but that would take you there so that you can see that and input your information you would like. And then I will also put that link in there. Remember, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here for you. You're not alone. We want to help. Thank you for spending some time listening to this. I hope everyone is safe and everything is great. And like I've been finishing off most webinars for our LaQ conference, is stay strong, Louisiana. And I want to add, you're not in this alone. We are West Baton Rouge. We are here. We're WBR proud, and we're here to help you out. So just reach out whenever you need anything. Thank you.